This video was requested by Melon Afro and Boy Reet. Hello and welcome back to Quirk Analysis 101, the series where I give you a detailed rundown on the quirks in the world of My Hero Academia. In the last video, I discussed the ability that belongs to Big Bird's emo cousin, bcaw, Fumikage Tokoyami, and his quirk, Dark Shadow. In today's video, I'll be discussing the quirk that belongs to the hard to see, is she even there, we don't really care, Toru Hagakure. Also, don't forget to Detroit smash that like button and slide into that subscribe button's DMs to hit that notification bell. Now, without further ado, let's sneak our way on over to the super stealthy see-through quirk that is Invisibility. Invisibility is a mutant-type quirk which first appeared in Chapter 5 of the My Hero manga and Episode 5 of the anime. Although, technically, it could have appeared earlier, but we just never saw it. This quirk grants its user with a completely invisible body. This invisibility makes it so none of the user's physical features can be observed through the naked eye, making it hard to detect their presence or read their emotions. Being invisible is also this quirk wielder's natural state, meaning there is no turning on or off this ability. You're always invisible. To be honest, that sounds more like a curse rather than a power. Now you may be wondering, how exactly does this quirk work? Does it modify the user's cells so that they don't absorb or reflect light similar to how glass works? Or is it because of some other scientific phenomenon I'm too monkey brained to understand? The answer? Nobody knows. Not even Horikoshi himself, as Toru is the only character from Class 1A whose quirk hasn't been formally introduced in the series. In volume 2 of the manga, Horikoshi noted that he was waiting on the right time to introduce it. But considering we are now on volume 30 with no introduction, it's safe to assume he has absolutely no idea. And he just thought having an invisible character would be cool. Man, even her creator doesn't care about her. Damn, Toru's got it rough. But now it's time to talk about this quirk's abilities. The first and most notable of which is the fact that the user of this quirk is invisible. This gives the user a major advantage when it comes to stealth or taking an enemy by surprise. This quirk also makes the user immune to light-based attacks such as Aoyama's naval laser. Since light passes through the user of this quirk, this means that so would these light beams, meaning that in a one-on-one fight, Hagakure could probably kick Aoyama's ass. Hey, maybe she's not totally useless. Now let's have a look at this quirk's other abilities. Hold on a sec. Hey Tim!
Oh hey!
Did you finish that quirk analysis script on invisibility like I asked?
Sure did, boss!
Yeah, okay, but what happened to the rest of the ability section?
What'd you mean?
It just basically says she can turn invisible and that's really about it.
Yep!
Wait, really? That's it? That's all it can do?
Basically.
Really? Wow. How the hell did she get into the UA hero course? I mean, Shinzo, a man who can literally tell people to stop committing crimes, and they'll stop committing crimes, didn't get in, but somehow this invisible person did? Explain to me how that makes sense.
Shit, boss, I don't know what to tell you. Hell, I don't even exist.
What?
Yeah, I'm just a figment of your imagination you created for this bit due to the lack of content to put in this section. Matter of fact, in reality, I'm also probably a byproduct of your crippling anxiety and loneliness due to self-isolation and lack of social interaction. But hey, we're here to talk about an invisible chick with some invisible boobies. So I'ma head out. Peace.
Tim, where'd you go? Tim? As in regards to an ultimate move, this quirk does in fact have one, and it's called Warp Refraction. For this move, Toru manages to warp the light that passes through her body, allowing her to magnify and reflect it out in multiple directions. With natural sunlight, she can use this super move to amplify the light rays and turn herself into a giant ball of light, blinding anyone in the near vicinity. Think of it like Tien's solar flare in Dragon Ball. This bending and warping of light can also be used on any form of light ray that can pass through the user's body, such as the previously mentioned Aoyama's naval laser, allowing Toru to bend and redirect the laser's trajectory. And that's it for this quirk's known abilities. But unfortunately, just like every other quirk in the series, invisibility does come with its fair share of weaknesses. And boy oh boy, are we in for some big ones. Firstly, there is clothes. Yes, clothes, unlike the wielder of this quirk, are visible, making them a huge disadvantage for the user to wear as they undo the main and arguably only benefit this quirk offers. For this quirk to be used to its fullest potential, the user must be completely naked, which not only makes those around the teenage user of this quirk extremely uncomfortable, but it also means that the user is highly susceptible to intense weather conditions. If it's chilly outside, you're gonna feel that cold. Also, if you happen to be traversing terrain with pointy objects or just hot tarmac, you're really gonna be feeling it. Now you may be thinking, couldn't a user of this quirk just get a special outfit made for them using their invisible DNA or hair? And the answer is probably yes, as we have seen this done before with Mirio, whose hero costume consists of his DNA and can permeate with him through walls as if it was a part of him. However, an outfit like this was never made for Hagakure, so she is walking around naked. I really think Horikoshi is letting a little bit of his Mineta side out with this one. Another weakness that comes with this quirk is that the user occupies space, meaning if you were to say fill a room with flour or to throw ketchup on the user, it would stick onto and stain the user's body just as it would anyone else's, essentially negating the quirk's abilities. Also, the user of this quirk does produce heat, so while they are invisible to the naked eye, they are visible through a thermal lens. But the most devastating weakness of this quirk is unfortunately its greatest strength. You're invisible, and you can't not be invisible. Imagine living out your life never being able to see your hand's face or any part of your body. It would be terrible. When you look in the mirror, nothing would look back. When using public transport or walking down a street, people would constantly knock into you by accident. When you lift up your hand for a high five, no one would know and you'd be left hanging. When you smile, no one would be able to see you at your most beautiful. You'd never be able to take a good picture, you'd never be able to make funny faces, you'd never be noticed. And in a world like My Hero Academia, where a hero's success is partially determined by popularity, you would never be able to stand out. It honestly sounds more like a curse rather than a power. But in saying that, I do have to say this quirk does have some potential. As I've mentioned, to negate the whole clothes fiasco, the user could wear a suit made from their DNA. And boom, nice and comfy, no more worries about the weather. While this quirk isn't too powerful on its own, it is very well suited for team attacks. While the user's comrades are running interference against opponents, the user, using the incognito skills this quirk grants, can initiate a clandestine assault. Also, if the user teams up with someone like Aoyama who can produce light rays, the user of this quirk can manipulate these rays to their advantage, changing the ray's trajectory to attack an evasive opponent or amplifying them to make the ray stronger. In fact, the biggest potential for this quirk lies in this ability to manipulate and amplify any light rays that pass through it. We already know that Toru can manipulate and concentrate sunlight to turn herself into a human solar flare, but what's to say she can't progress this move even further? She could potentially manipulate the light so that instead of firing out in all directions, she shoots a more concentrated beam that can actually do damage. This would grant Toru the ability to produce concentrated heat rays from any part of her body, greatly increasing this quirk's versatility and combat use. Pair this move with Aoyama's already destructive naval laser, and oh baby, do we have an unstoppable duo on our hands. Another fun thing the user could do with this light manipulation is turn themselves into human binoculars. By manipulating the light waves and refracting the light, the user could turn their hand, or if they really wanted to, their whole body, into a gigantic magnifying glass, greatly increasing the distance they can see, which would also be very useful in espionage missions. But my personal favorite move with this quirk is the fact that you can be absolutely naked and no one would ever know. What are you gonna do? Take a picture? Good luck. And that's everything you need to know about the quirk Invisibility. Overall, it's not that great of an ability. There are a lot of downsides to it, and I don't believe the pros really outweigh the cons. Personally, I wouldn't like to have this quirk. If you could turn it on or off, it would be a bit better, but still, it's nowhere near as useful as any of the other quirks I've covered in this series. But in saying that, there is quite a bit of potential for it, and I look forward to seeing how Horikoshi uses this ability in the series in the future. But let me know what you think. Would you like to have the Invisibility quirk? And what quirk would you like me to cover in this series next? Let me know in the comments below. For more My Hero content, subscribe to the Lunchtime crew. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Plus Ultra.